voice of the fan. Drop a bounce pass, throw down the rim rocker. Lay up off the glass, right past the shot blocker. I follow through like Kobe's is money. You can cash it. For news on LA hoops, come over to Peach Basket. The Peach Basket, the Peach Basket.
This is a topic near and dear to your heart. Ajay, I will say that Jay is a Laker fan. He covered the Lakers for the Peach Basket this season. We'll hopefully do the same next season.
Yes,
did a great job, knows the team really well. He is the epitome of what we call fan experts. He is a fan who knows the team. He is smart enough to know that even though I put a picture of Dame Lillard, the chances of the Lakers getting him are slim to none. But let's talk about what the Lakers do need to do. This is an important offseason for them. They have got a phenomenal duo. LeBron obviously is getting a little older. AD has always been a little injury prone, but I think all the eggs are in those two baskets, right? So they either need to bring in a third superstar and then just, fill in the rest with whatever they can get, or they just need to get what? I mean, I have my thoughts. Give me yours. What is the Lakers' biggest need this offseason?
My thoughts right off the bat is they need a playmaker, because I think this is going to be the first time in LeBron's career he's going to be playing more off the ball more than onto the ball more, because that's just too much responsibility. Even if you think he is the best player in the world at his age, he should not be dominating the ball like that and making every single play, because we see what happens when LeBron goes to the bench. There's literally not another playmaker, because Dennis Schroeder wasn't living up to that role as he was expected to before the season starts. So Looking over at the point guard list quickly, I mean, there are some good point guards out there. Mike Conley, Kyle Lowry, Dragic, Schroeder still out there if the Lakers want to bring him back. Chris Paul is going to be an interesting one just because Phoenix can't afford to keep him. They got to pay Mikal Bridges. They got to pay DeAndre Ayton. And especially if they lose the series, you never know. This could turn into a situation where Chris Paul is going to go ring chasing. And he is LeBron's best pal. So just to throw that out there. And then we're hearing rumors of Lonzo Ball, like a sign and trade deal. I'd personally like that move more than getting Chris Paul, because not only is he a great defender, he's put in the work, and you've seen him become a better three-point shooter. I think he shot 38% from the field this year from three, and from the free throw line when he was first a Laker, he was like 40 to 50. Now he's like a 70% free throw shooter. So now he's not a liability on the court. He can play both ways, and he's improved such enough where you can depend on Lonzo, where he can hit that open shot and create space for LeBron and AD. My second point for the Lakers to get, because Lakers need a center. Marc Gasol just wasn't cutting it. An interesting name. I'm going to go back out there. Maybe the Lakers, I don't know if they want to rekindle that championship that they won in the bubble. But JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard are free agents, and they're not going to command that much money. So I don't know if you can – I'm not saying you can snag both, but maybe you can snag one of them and offer them an opportunity like, hey, I know you can play for this team and get more money, but we need a starting center so we can present you a championship contender and a starting role in our team. I think those are the two main points besides getting a shooter, but Lakers definitely need a center and a playmaker.
Yeah. And the only thing I'll add to that, because I couldn't agree more, I think the Lakers need a center that doesn't need the ball, right? I thought Andre Drummond was an interesting fit. I was never particularly a big fan of his, but this is a guy who, I don't know, you can tell based on his offseason comments, he wanted the ball. All right. He was used to being the guy. And we don't need a guy in Los Angeles at the center position who wants to be the guy. We need a guy who's going to do the dirty work, grab the rebounds, make the good outlet pass, defend the rim. Somebody like DeAndre Ayton. And I'm just saying somebody like. I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton is the right guy, but I'm saying somebody like him, who the Clippers, when he was with the Clippers, they never called to play for him. But, he still was an anchor defensively. And again, JaVale McGee fits that bill perfectly. I mean, I just think he'd be great. Dwight, obviously a little older, but takes care of himself. I mean, I think he'd be great too. This is somebody who would probably be good for 15, 20 minutes. And then, oftentimes, they'll probably swap him out, go small. I agree with you. I think they need a center, but it's specifically a center who doesn't need any plays called for him. The biggest need aside from that and a playmaker, in my estimation, is shooters. But you called out, right? The Lonzo Ball, if he's the right guy, has been a good shooter, certainly getting better. And so that would be, a really good fit. for the Lakers. So yeah, I agree with you. I couldn't agree more. Just out of curiosity, because I do think it's kind of an interesting situation. The Lakers, as you know, are pretty tied up because they've got a lot of they're right up against it. And the biggest issue when I looked at it, I didn't look in depth, admittedly, but when I looked at it, I saw Montrezl Harrell, who has got a player option. So
yeah,
I don't know right now. He's had kind of an off year, certainly with the Lakers, but he's a 6-man, and we know what he can do if he's given the kind of minutes the Clippers gave him. But he's a bit of a liability in the playoffs. We've seen that with the Clippers and the Lakers now. So if I am Montrezl Harrell, I think I opt in. I get that money because I don't think I can get that kind of money in right now in free agency. Yeah, so I think that really messes the Lakers up because now they've got a little bit more money dedicated to a guy that I don't know that they necessarily want to move forward with. So then you got to trade him. You're certainly not going to release him, or you're going to play him. I mean, I hate to throw this on you because we didn't really talk about it before, but what do you think the Lakers' plan is for Trez?
No, that's good you asked me that because I've been reading about how the salary cap works. From what I'm reading, I think from what I've read, the Lakers are hoping Montrezl opts in because when the Lakers signed him, they gave him the MLE, the mid-level exception. So if he opts out, you just lose that, and you don't got that much cap space anyways because LeBron and AD are taking up so much of the cap space that it's going to be hard to find another mid-level exception player like Montrezl Harrell. So from what I read, they're hoping he opts in from what I read. And whether he stays on the team or not, that's a different story. I think the Lakers are, like you said, they're hoping he opts in at least so they can use him as a trade asset. So, for example, if Lonzo Ball is really on the table, maybe they can tell the Pelicans, hey, we can give you Montrez, we can give you Kuz, we can give you, a couple first-round picks for a Lonzo Ball deal, something like that, Because I think the 3 untouchable players on the Lakers roster this offseason, I should say, obviously LeBron and AD. I don't think THT is going anywhere. THT is probably gone if it means Damian Lillard is on the way.
Sure.
But I highly doubt Damian Lillard is coming. The only way Damian Lillard, I'm going to tell all Laker fans right now, the only way Damian Lillard is coming, he would literally have to force his way to LA just like James Harden forced his way to Brooklyn. He would have to throw a temper tantrum so crazy, it's so nuts that no other team is willing to trade for Damian Lillard. And his main focus is just LA. Or unless he wants to send Twitter into frenzy and he fires his agent and then, he gets Rich Paul, which is LeBron James' agent, and then that's it. But other than that, there's no way Dame's – I guess I shouldn't say no way, but it's 1% chance that Dame Lillard is going to be a Laker,
All right. This is the 1%. Because I think this is the only way I think it would work because the salaries line up. Do you trade if you are – Rob Pelinka and Neil O'Shea from Portland calls you, says, we'll give you Dame. You give us AD straight up. Boom. Do you make that trade?
No, I don't think the Lakers would make it because they seen the Lakers had the benefit of seeing AD when healthy, how he can be a force changer in the game offensively and defensively. Dame, he's a force, no doubt. But part of the reason, I hate to say it because Dame's a great player, but part of the reason why Portland's defense is so bad is because Dame is not a great defender on the perimeter, And with the league being so perimeter-oriented, you got to have somewhat of a defense out there. I'm not saying he's the worst defender out there, but it's not like Dame is also a lockdown defender that's a two-way player, So I don't think the Lakers are going to make that deal, especially since LeBron's the one that advocated for the Lakers to go get me AD. I just don't see there's too much politics behind the scene, because they're both represented by Rich Paul, so – I don't think anything's going to happen of that sort of nature, And they both just signed extensions last summer. What was AD's extension? 4 or 5 years? And then
I want to say 4.
And then LeBron also signed a 4-year deal, right, as well?
No, I think LeBron's only got another 2. His lines up with Bron, his son Bronny being available. I'm pretty sure he's unrestricted in 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. It's on CNN. It says LeBron James agrees contract extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. Let me see how long it goes. First off, oh, yeah, so he's going to remain a Laker until the 2022-2023 season. So pretty much LeBron's going to end his career as a Laker. So I just don't see with both of them being represented by Rich Paul and what LeBron has done for the Lakers. He came by himself. and then he orchestrated, whether people want to admit it or not, he orchestrated AD coming here. I just don't see the Lakers trading Anthony Davis for Damian Lillard.
Outstanding. So to recap, Lakers' biggest needs, and I couldn't agree more. Playmaker. Right now, really all they got is LeBron. They need another playmaker. And then a center. I think a center who's not going to demand the ball. Be interesting offseason for the Lakers. Absolutely. Great points.
The voice of the fan. Drop a bounce pass, throw down the rim rocker. Lay up off the glass, right past the shot blocker. I follow through like Kobe's is money. You can cash it. For news on LA hoops, come over to thePeachBasket. Up-to-date sports, post-game reports, debates and play-by-play coming straight off the court. The voice of the fan making noise, causing havoc. Zone a man up, you can ask PeachBasket. The PeachBasket, come and tune on there. The PeachBasket, where the news begins. We're dropping news like we're in the stands. Creative views from the app.